Welcome back to the session. Fine. Yes. So until the break, what we have been discussed is we have been discussed until the first overview of the JSP, what we have seen, and the next we have been discussed about the different HTML tags, how we can implement that we have been discussed also. Fine. So now we are going to discuss about, so we have also seen that the different type of your HTML components, that is your HTML tags also we have been discussed, and yes, okay, the tag libraries like input text fields, or we have output tags, input tags, we have select tags, and we have seen also head tag, how we can use also body, form tags. Okay, these are command tags, okay, which are being available. Then we have started discussing about the data table tags, how to use also we have seen, and we have started discussing about some of the few tags of your core tags, like select tags of the core tag library. We have also seen about how we can use the view and the subview tags, how we can use that also we have been discussing. And we have also discussed about a few things about your implementations, like facet tags in the data table and all, how to implement. That's the things also we have been discussed. So these are all the few things what we have been discussed so far in the before the break. All we have been discussed. Now, okay, the next thing which we are going to discuss is nothing but your access and process the user input, which is the third chapter. See, there is a small topic which is there, okay, about the Jsfhs and the how we can implement the VDL, that we are going to discuss also. So now what I'm going to discuss is access and process the user input. Okay, that is, I can say, the managing the user input. This is what we are going to discuss now. This is okay what I am going to start with. See, we have seen till now the first half. Okay, we have seen like overview of Jsfhs we have been discussed, and we have discussed about developing the UI component, how to develop the UI component also we have seen, and implementing the UI component using the HTML, as well as okay, the core tag library, some of the components using that, how to create the UI component, that is also we have been discussed. Now, okay, we will be moving down to the chapter 3, that is nothing but your managing the user input, how to do that, okay, that we are going to discuss now. Very important. Okay, we need to see that, okay, how we can implement the user input in our program. That we are going to discuss now. Let me start with that. So access, okay, and process the user input. How we can do the access and process the user input. Let us will see this. So Jsfhs, if you want to do that, how to give the input from the user and store that particular user input, and maybe you want to display this in some other page and all, okay, then we go for that as accessing the data and processing that user input. How we can do that? Okay, so Jsfhs has provided you the Java Bean model. So see this. Jsfhs has provided a Java Bean model that enables you to create a Java class, okay, to access and store the user data. So in case of your Jsfhs, if I want to take the input from the user and process that particular input, in that case, okay, I need to use the concept of your Java Bean concept, and by implementing the Java Bean concept, we can store the data. So the Java class which is used to store the data will be called as a managed bin. I think already I told that okay, we can store the data using the managed bin concept. So using the managed bin, we can store the data, then we can retrieve that particular data also. That's what we can be implementing here. And the managed bin is associated with the UI component. So this is very, very important. Okay, the managed bin will be associated with the UI component, and whatever the data which you are going to specify, that all the data which will be taken care by the UI component also. So it will be associated with that. Input values are automatically processed and stored in the managed bin with the appropriate scope. So you can think that okay, the managed bin is just like your JSP:use bin concept. How we can implement that, the same way you can implement here. Then if you remember in the JSP:_use bin, we can store the data in a different scope, like session scope we can store, or a request scope. Similarly, here also in the managed bin also, we can store the value in a different scopes also. That is can be possible as part of your managed bin also. So what is a managed bin and how we are going to implement this managed bin also we are going to see. To access and store the user data, you need to define the managed bin. So you can define the managed bin by creating simple Java classes. Okay, we can create the managed bin using the simple Java classes, and these classes will be also called as the plain old Java objects. That is called your POJO also. This will also called as POJO, plain old Java objects. That is also the part what we can implement, and how we are going to implement that. So obviously, okay, how we are going to integrate that UI component to this, that we are going to discuss also. So we have to keep the managed bin with a proper scope, so that wherever you want to access that data, we can access that. Jsfs will enable you to perform this task by defining the scope. To define the bin to display to the different users or with a different pages, we can specify that in a different scope. So that is what we can do through the Jsfs scope feature, and using the scope feature we can specify the lifespan of the managed bin also, how much it can be there. So there are 5 different scopes which can be possible in a case of your Jsfs, and how these scopes we need to be specified, that we are going to discuss now. So Jsfs will support the different type of your scope for managed bin, like none, we have view scope, we have request scope, we have session scope, and we have application scope, are the 5 different scopes which are available for you and to access that particular data from the bin also. So let me talk about this particular bin and how it is being used, that we are going to discuss. Let me talk about that. Fine, let's see. Fine then. Let us see that how these bins are being stored, how it is can be implemented, that we'll see now. We'll talk about each and every view. We'll see that. See here. How we are using the bin, the managed bin, we'll see this. So this is a sample user application or the user interface we can talk about. Maybe I have username with a password, something like that. Address, have something called as submit button and a reset button which is there. Now what will happen is, okay, using this managed bean concept, what we are trying to do is, okay, we want to store that into the different managed bean concept. So we'll be creating a login. We will create a login bean, and here we are going to store the data. Uname. Then we are going to create password, then we are going to create the address. And here we are going to store the some data. Let's say XYZ 1, 2, 3 and some data over here also. We are giving that data. So what will happen? So to this username, okay, this particular variable, it will be binded. This variable which will be binded to this. Then Hyderabad which will be binded to this. Like that, okay, the different type of your data which is, can be binded over here. Alright, so please remember this. So this is the data which will be binded to this managed bean. Okay, so this managed bean, where it will contain, this variable will contain say a XYZ and 1, 2, 3 and the address maybe that is Hyderabad. Like that, okay, the data which will be contained by the managed bean. And this managed bean, okay, will be stored in a different scope. That can be none, okay, that can be your view scope, that can be your say request scope. So all these are the different type of your scope which can be available. Or maybe that is your, we can talk about other scopes like session scope. Okay, so all these are the different type of your scopes, okay, which are been available, where the bean can be stored into that also. Alright, so please remember, so these are all the scope, and we can also have something called as application scope also. So all these are different scopes generally what you can find. So these are all the different type of your scope generally, okay, which you can find in the managed bean. Okay, so managed bean can be binded with this particular scope. This is none or a view or a request scope or a session scope or application or the different scope generally, okay, which will be binded with your managed bean. Now, when we'll go for the next, maybe I want to display this particular data in the next one. Maybe I will display this username. Okay, we will be displaying that password. Okay, then address like this. Okay, I want to display in the, this is maybe I have the home page. This is my success page, like that. Okay, there is a pages are there. Now when you click on the submit button, okay, then the page, it has to move to this particular page, and here it is nothing but your XYZ, and we have something called as 1, 3, and we have something called as Hyderabad. Like that, okay, we can talk about. So this is the values which will be displayed for you. Now what will happen? Okay, username, password and address, when it will be displayed, the success page it will be get displayed over here. Now how it has come, that username, okay, whatever you have binded to that, okay, that you can get it over here. Password you can get it here, address you can get it over here. So from where you have got that managed bean, where you have saved that particular data, from there only you can get, okay, and this managed bean, okay, which has been stored with the different kind of your scope also. It can be none, it can be view, it can be request scope, or it can be session scope or an application scope also. So that is the way how the user will give the input data, and it can be, okay, in the next, okay, which we can display that particular data. That is what we can be implemented with the managed bean concept. Is it clear now? Do you get my point, or any doubts are there? I want everyone to respond quickly. Input data, whatever it is there, okay, how it will be processed. So obviously remember that, okay, all the UI component, whatever you are there, that UI component will be associated with the managed bean, and that managed bean, from that only you can access the data in the next page only. Directly we cannot do that. Alright, So now coming back to the next point, that is nothing but your, okay, what are the scopes which are there, obviously. Now coming back to the none scope. When we coming to the none scope, what is this scope is all about? None scope, which defines that, okay, the bean will be, okay, neither instantiated nor it will be stored in any particular scope only. Okay, the bean will be instantiated by some other, okay, managed bean. So this particular bean will not be stored in any particular scope. Okay, another bean may be instantiating this particular bean. Hence, that particular type of bean, okay, scope will be called as a none scope also. Directly, we can't create a session to access the data. We cannot create a session. We will not create a session to access the data. We can create a bean and we can put that particular bean into the session scope. That is way how we can do. So none scope is that. So remember that, okay, in this case, okay, the bean will not be instantiated, okay, neither in a particular scope. This will be called by the another bean. Okay, so this particular bean, those who are associated with a none scope, they will not be, okay, they will not directly will be accessed by any particular scope, or they will not be stored in any page. This will be called, maybe you can say student is a bean, and course is also a bean, but student bean is being associated with a session scope, and wherever it is required, student bean will call the your course bean, but course bean will not be stored in a particular scope. So course bean, now it will be called as a non-scope. That means, okay, it will not be any scope. It will be called by a particular bean. So that will be comes under the non-scope actually. So non-scope is that. This is what your non-scope. View scope, it is within the page, within the same page. If you are talking about, will remain as long as the user stays on the same page. That time only the, okay, data can be viewed. If you are going to the another page or anything, then, okay, the value which will not be able to access if you are implementing the view scope. A bean will call another bean in a none scope. A bean will call another bean. Maybe there is a student bean can be there, okay, which may call the course, but may not be right, okay, every time need to be called, but the student bean can call the course bean. Maybe this student bean can be associated with the session scope. But this course bean, okay, which will be binded with a none scope. Student bean can call the your course bean, okay, but this course will not be stored any particular scope. That is what, if you want to be mentioned, then it will be called as a none scope actually. So none scope where the bean, okay, will not be stored in any particular scope. This will be called by the another bean. So student is calling the course bean, okay, which you can be specified with that. So this is about your none scope, you can say. If I am binding with your view scope, okay, the next thing is nothing but your binding with a view scope. In that particular case is what will happen. Okay, remember that, okay, it will be there in the same page. Within the same page, okay, the bean, okay, which will sustain. If it will go to the another page, okay, the value will not be sustained there. So that is what, okay, we can talk about your view scope also. Then request scope, when you come to the request scope, what will happen? It will define that, okay, the bean will be instantiated and remain available within a one HTTP request. That means one HTTP request, okay, it will be sent and the response will be sent. Until that, the request scope can be there. Okay, the data can be there until one request and response is being there. So that is why it is a short-lived, okay, type of your scope which we can be specified. So which will start when an HTTP request is submitted and ends when the response is sent back to the client. Until that only the, okay, that particular bean can be stored. So that is what we can talk about your request scope. Session scope, okay, this particular scope. Okay, when I'm talking about this particular scope, is a managed bean defines that the bean will be available from the time when the session is established. And we know that, okay, when the session is established, until the session will be your destroyed. Until that, okay, the bean can be there in that particular scope, and we can access the data from that particular scope also. So if the browser is being closed, okay, then only the session will be gets closed. Other than that, okay, the data can be reside. So in a session scope, we can get the data easily. So this is what we can talk about your session scope. So all that managed bean, whichever you say, so it can be stored in these particular scopes also. Then the last one, it is nothing but your application scope. This is the last scope which we can talk about in application scope. So the application scope for the managed bean, okay, define that, okay, it will retain its value throughout its lifetime of the web application. Until the web application there in the memory, okay, until that, okay, the managed bean will be stored, and every user can access that particular data. If the data which will be available, if it is in the case of your application scope. Obviously, okay, therefore, if you want to have a single bean should be shared among all the instances of that particular application. In that case, okay, you can put that bean in an application scope so that, okay, it can be accessible everywhere also. Yeah, please tell. Arun, yeah.
So I just want to know, the scope is known. Okay, so if there is two bean, then we can use only the none. Otherwise, we have to use the view request, session, and application.
Session, you can go for session, but application, it is if you want every user. It's just a kind of like.
I know about the request and session and application is same as the JSP and servlet, but about the none. If I'm talking about the none, that means it's already told if there's a two bean like that, the student and course.
Yes.
Okay, so if there is two beans and if another beans we don't require any scope, then we have to use none.
Correct. Okay, that is.
If we have only single bean,
that bean may not be useful every time. Maybe the student does not have, has not taken any course. Till that, okay, that bean is not required. If the student has taken took the course, then only that bean is required. So hence, okay, I can put that in the non-scope. So it is based on the student bean only you can access. If the student is accessing the course, then only, okay, that particular bean will be initialized. Otherwise, it will not be initialized. So it is not stored in any particular scope.
Okay, and in the top, what about the view? If we are talking about the view, that means the view is
within the same page. Okay, if you want to access, maybe the page again you are calling the same page. Sometimes it may happen, okay, maybe you are giving that particular page, and when you submit it, okay, it has to come the value. Like you might have seen like student name, student ID, student name, and we have given a value called as say which particular supplementary we want to write in an encore Vista. I am just saying. Now when you click on the next student, that is the same page, but another user again it will come like student ID, student name, again which supplementary. Now the previous data, whatever it was there, in the same page it is there or not. So that means, okay, you are continuing within the same page only. So that will be comes under the view. If your data want to be there in the same page, then we can go for the view scope.
Like that pagination, like that pagination.
Within the page.
Pagination in JSP.
In the page we have in the JSP. We have something called as
pagination concept. That means. Okay, right? Same as a pagination. Okay, thank you, sir.
Fine. So this is all about the different type of your scopes which you have been implementing as part of your managed bean. Okay, when it is concerned. So these are the different type of your scopes which are there. It can be none, it can be view, it can be request scope, it can be session scope, it can be our application scope. And when we store the bean, okay, within the application scope, everyone can access. Okay, the bean will be in a persist until the web application will not comes out of the memory, and every user can access that particular bean also. So these are the few things which we can talk about the managed bean, different scopes which we are talking about. So that is all about the few things about the managed bean which we are talking about. So we can keep the managed bean, either you can implement using the mapping with the faces-config.xml file, or you may be using the annotations also. All right now. Now see, so this configuring the managed bean, how we can configure the managed bean, now we are going to talk about that. Okay, so we have discussed about what is the managed bean is all about, and we have also discussed about what are the different scopes to the managed bean it will be there, that we have been seen. Now we are going to see that how and where the managed bean will be configured, that we are going to discuss now. Let me go with that. So web application contains a UI to present the presentation layer. So the managed bean for representing the logic for that UI, you can write the managed bean. And once the UI and the managed bean have been created, the properties of the managed bean have to be mapped with the respective UI component. That is what exactly we have to do. So we have done, created the UI, created the managed bean. I told that, there should be a mapping, it has to be done. This mapping I have to do either in the faces-config.xml file, we can do that, or else we have to do through the annotation. I think it is not a new thing for us, because we know that even in a case of your WCD also, we can do that, the configuration in the web.xml, either we can do through the annotation also. Similar way, here also we can do that, configuring the managed bean either in faces-config.xml file, or using the annotation also we can do that. So using faces-config.xml file also, we can map the managed bean properties with the corresponding UI component also. So whenever the bean is referred in the JS page, we have to instantiate the bean, then inject it with the declared default values with a getter and setter method, and place the bean in the scope as defined in the faces-config.xml file. And faces-config.xml file will have, these are the certain properties of the managed bean will be there, faces-config, then managed bean, and you will find some of the few other tags of the managed bean, like managed bean class, what is the managed bean name, what is the managed bean scope, and managed bean property also. So these are all the different kind of your tags which are been available for you to configure that in the faces-config.xml file itself. If I am not doing that, then I need to use through the annotation, I need to specify either the way, either you use the annotation or you use the your faces-config.xml file also. The other way, as I told you that we can also use the annotation wise also we can be implemented. So how we can do that? We can allow or declare the managed bean in few lines of code. Instead of declaring the managed bean in the faces-config.xml file, it will reduce the size of complexity. In faces-config.xml file, we have to use at symbol before them. As you know that in any annotation we have to be specified the at symbol, and to specify that it is a managed bean, we have to use the managed bean annotation which we need to be specified, and to specify that in which scope it is there, we have to specify that is a request scope or a session scope or application scope or a view scope or none scope, and all these are annotations which are possible in javax.faces.bean package which are available. In that, all these annotations which are available. And then we have to bind that particular managed bean with the UI component. The UI component, it has to be binded, and when we are binding with that particular UI component, we need to use the syntax that is nothing but your, please see to this. This is the syntax which we need to be followed. That is nothing but your hash bean name dot property name is the one, the syntax which we need to be followed as part of your, when the bean will be mapping with your UI component. That is just like I told, username, okay, it has to be mapped with that uname of your login bin. Maybe the password which has to be mapped with a passwd variable. So that you need to be specified over here in this, by using hash braces open bean name dot property name. You have to be specified that way. Okay, then this is the way the value attribute of that particular your UI component will contain this particular value. And this bean name we need to specify in our bean class, okay, the managed bean class. Okay, then automatically it will be binded, and then we can use that particular bean value. Okay, and whatever you are storing, you can access that value in other pages also. So that is the part about your managed bean. And if you want to access the methods and all, that is also can be possible. So not only that, okay, we are accessing the properties of that particular managed bean. Even if you want to access the methods also, the similar kind of your syntax which you need to be follow for accessing that methods also. So before we go for that, okay, we'll see a demo of how we can implement this managed bean and how to implement that. Okay, that we are going to discuss now. Let me start with that. Give me a minute. Okay, I'll just discuss about how we can create this particular managed bin and implement it. All right then. Java web application. We can go for the next. Here I can write the bean. This is chapter 3, I will say, because it is accessing user input /with server. Go for the next. I can use Java server faces, common. Library I can use. This is my chapter 3. You could see that, okay, this is my chapter 3 which I am creating. Alright. What I want to do is, please see to this, okay, this is what I am going to implement. I am going to create a managed bin. Okay, so I need to create a managed bin. So what I need to do is, first, okay, I need to create a simple my page which is containing order detail. Okay, so I am taking a simple example called as order detail, where this order detail will contain product ID, product name, and the price. Okay, this is the first page which will be displayed. So this demo, what it will try to do, okay, just I want to discuss, then we can move. So what it is, okay, I am trying to create a order detail page. This is my index.html page. Here you can see that, okay, product ID, price, product name, and the price. This is the order detail. This is there in my index.html, and I will create a order Pojo object which I just want to create. So please see this particular demo. I'm just explaining the demo. First, I have a file. This is my index.html. My product ID. This is my product name. My price. My submit button. Now this is okay, a sample implementation of index.html page which I have created, and I want to create a order bean. This is my order bean I want to create. This is order.java. There are three variables which are been available here. One is that, okay, product ID. One is product name. One is the price. And this, okay, index.html, it is going to bind, okay, with this particular variables. Okay, this is, okay, the product name, it is bind with this particular variable. Price is bind with this particular variable. This is order.java, which is the your managed view. Okay, this is order.java, this is my index.html. Now you can see that, okay, in this code I have written that, okay, that is hash order dot say product ID, because this is way how we have to be bind with that particular, okay, UI component. So this is what we can see in your index.html code also. You could find that, okay, the same code over here also. You can see that, okay, in the table product ID is equal to PID, value is equal to order dot product ID. Order is nothing but the name of that particular bean. Okay, that is order.java's order bean, and the product ID is nothing but the variable which is being defined within the, okay, your order.java. Similarly, order.product name, order.price are the three variables which are already been defined in the order. And then we said that, okay, command button, when you click on the submit button, it has to display a report. So when you click on that, okay, maybe there is a, you can say there is a page, okay, which is going to be displayed called as a report. And in this particular report, okay, we are going to display that is nothing but your, say, product ID, product name, okay, then price of that particular product, which are we are going to, when you click on the submit button, this is, if I'll click on the submit button, then, okay, this report.html page, it has to be displayed here. So obviously here the value whatever it is there, again, okay, you can access over here. Product name also you can access also the price, also the value which you can be accessed over here. That is why how we are going to be implemented. Okay, so this is now the order.java which I am going to create. This will be stored in a particular scope. How it is going to be stored in a particular scope, that we will see. So what is that? Okay, we will see. One is that, okay, it is a managed bean. So you will specify that in which scope it has to be stored. Maybe session scope which I want to store. So you need to specify that, okay, your annotation within the order.java, we need to be specify that. And in that, okay, you will specify the name of that particular bean. So let's say order is a bean. And maybe, okay, the property that is eager, that is before initialization only the bean needs to be created. Before this, okay, initialization or binding the element only, that instance need to be created. To tell that one, okay, we'll say that okay, eager is equal to true. So that is a property which I can also specify. So this is the managed bean annotation, and the session scope is the annotation which has to be specified in order.java so as to okay access the data in the report.xhtml. Other than that, okay, which cannot be possible. That you could see that okay, then managed bean when you are creating, you go for Java server pages, then managed bean. Okay, so click on the Jsfs managed bean. See that okay, what are the steps which I have given to you. You have to go to Jsfs managed bean, type the name of the managed bean order.java, and automatically you will see that okay, there is a managed bean name is equal to order, eager is equal to true. It says that means okay, the bean instance will be created before binding the element also. Then okay, session scope is the annotation which can be given, so by which okay we can be specify that okay this particular bean which is we are given, so that is okay binded to the session scope also. So this is the few things which we need to be implemented, and as usual the other things are same, only you need to declare the variables in that, and we have to write the getter methods and setter methods for that. Nothing else we need to do. Then we need to create a report.xhtml Jsfs page which we need to create, and in that particular page we have created an output text box, and I said that okay order.product ID, the product order instance which has been created, that we can access over here. So this is a sample code which I want to develop here. So let us see that. Any questions here in this demo? Any questions? Now I will go for the demo. I think I've explained the demo. If you have any point you want to share or discuss, can you please ask? I want everyone to respond quickly. Click on plus if you have understood the demo. Annotation eager is equal to true. If I am specifying that, okay, that means okay here I am saying that okay before the binding to the UI elements, okay, it will be first create the instance, that is eager equal to true. If you want to store in a different scope, then we need to specify that okay which particular scope when we are creating the bean, because okay there is a second step where we are creating the bean, Jsfs managed bean. You need to specify that okay what kind of your scope you require. Then automatically that scope it will be binded to. We need to use okay the scope, only one kind of scope which we can be specified here. Eager is the attribute which we are specifying to the bean to tell that before okay the binding of the variable to the component, UI component, the bean instance needs to be created. To tell that one, okay, we need to use eager is equal to true. Here from Chandigarh it is asking that okay how do I mention that okay this is, see over here I told that right, okay this is the order is the bean name, and this order bean whatever you have specified, the same order bean need to be specified here. If you have changed that, then okay it will not access. So compulsory in the managed bean name whatever you have specified, the UI component or the okay the subsequent other pages wherever you are accessing that bean values also, it has to be same. Other than that okay you cannot access that. Alright then, so let us will see that okay how we could create or implement this Jsfs that we are going to discuss now. want to create the table. This is my index.html page, okay, which will contain this order series. In JSF, we do not need to use bean first. No, use bean will not say all these things. Okay, you have to just specify this or bean name dot property name. That's only you have to do. Questions? It will bind automatically. You need not to do that. Only thing that you have to ensure that, okay, the bean, whatever you have given the name over here, where you have created the bean, that is the managed bean that you have created. In the annotation, the same name, it has to be there. Other than that, okay, it will give an error to you. Bean object name, if you are changing, okay, then you need to also change in the your subsequent wherever you are accessing also. There also you need to change. Yes, automatically that server will take care. Correct only the binding process and everything. The name, we have to just specify the name. Now see, the second, this is the first step where I have added, where I have created a table with the order detail and which I have contained, okay, that is order bean which I have created. Okay, then I have binded with that. Now I am going to create that particular order bean. So how I develop? See, we'll go for new, then we'll go for the other, and here we'll see that, okay, JSF. In that JSF, we need to specify JSF managed bean. Okay, we need to be specify that. JSF managed bin, so that, okay, we can create the managed bin. See here, this is the main step which you need to do. Here you need to specify order. If you want to define any kind of your package, we can define that. It doesn't matter. So let me talk about this particular package called as com. I have defined. Similarly, I may define any kind of your package here. Okay, so pack I can define here. Package called as pack. Name of that particular bean, what is that we have given? See here, order. Okay, if you have specified order, the name of the bean is order. If you are ORD, if you are specifying here the name of the bean, then ORD it will be. So whatever the name you have specified in the managed bean, it will be written like that. Okay, so that you need to remember. And what type of your scope, if you want to be specified here, okay, that you can give it over there. New JSF managed bin, you can see that, okay, scope, whether it is a request or a session or application or a view or a num scope, if you want to specify that, you can be specified here. I am specifying that as a session. So accordingly, it will come as session. If you have specified your request, then it will come, okay, it will create automatically the request scope like that. What that has been created. Here you can see that. This is my order.java, which is the managed bean, which we can see. And how it is managed bean, it has been written, that is managed bean. Here I can write that name is equal to order Alright, so managed bean, name is equal to order, eager is equal to true. That way you can be specified, and what type of scope it is, okay, the session scope it is. So that is what we need to be implement. And here you can write the variables which I want to define. Okay, you can define this. So these are the variables. Okay, string, product name, string, product ID, price, int. Okay, so that variable which I need to be defined here. Because the same variable I need to tell, product ID, product name and price, the same variable which I have defined here also. Now you go for the getter methods and setter methods. Go to the insert code, write getter methods and setter methods for price or product ID, for product name, generate that getter methods and setter methods. That's it. we have the getter methods and setter methods. Okay, so this is way how I can develop a managed bean, how I can create a managed bean with a particular scope which I have defined over here. Managed bean order eager is equal to true. This is way how I can define that. Yes, okay, that is automatical reflection only, correct only. You need not to do that. Now this is the way how I've been implemented here. So that is index.html is the code which we have done, and this will be binded to the order bean, and whatever the value which is there, okay, automatically the instance will be get created and it will be stored, and then okay, the values it will be retrieved. Now when the values it will be retrieved, how that values it will be retrieved, let us will see. I think eager is equal to true, right? Okay, how many times? I told eager, okay, eager, I told that, okay, this is basically the eager equal to true means, okay, that instance will be created before the binding of the instance, your UI component to the variable. That is called your eager equal to true. Please remember. Now, next we need to add, okay, that is when you click on this index.html, if you see that, okay, on the submit button, it has to display the report. So let us see that. Right click, then new, then we'll go for the JSF page, and this JSF page name is what? Report. We need to specify that, okay, report, then say finish. Then you can see that, okay, report.xhtml page, which is we are getting over here, and here I am going to display, okay, the values, okay, whatever the values which are being stored in the order bean that I want to access here. How I could access, let us will see this. Alright, now here I want to access, so what I will write, let me write that particular code also. I will display the data, simple, through the output text I am displaying, nothing else, very simple. I have displaying product ID, okay, through the output text, okay, order.product ID, product name, and the price which I am displaying here. That's it, simply we are implementing that. So this is my report.xhtml page which is being displayed. So that's the simple one by which we are, okay, creating a bean and we are implementing that. Now let me run this particular code, okay, which will be executed from the index.html. We can specify the value, and you will see that, okay, when you click on the submit button, it will be stored into the bean, and in turn it will be shown into the report.xhtml page also. Yes, for input or for output, accessing the value it will be same. Okay, so that doesn't matter. Okay, the input or output, okay, the value, okay, automatically can be accessed, so it is not required. If it is a kind of input value, that is, okay, input text or anything, then okay, it will expect that, okay, the data to be given by the user. If it is an output text kind of thing, okay, then okay, it will be obviously display that particular value. That's the only thing. So order ID you can give that P1001. The product name you can specify that. Okay. Okay, this is the product ID, product name, and the price which we can be specified here. When I click on the submit, you can see that, okay, this will be displaying in the report, okay, .xhtml page where the product ID, product name, and the price it is being displayed to you. So this kind of things which we can be implemented over here using the simple, okay, your bean we have created, and we have been displayed that particular values also. Am I clear now? So that's a sample demo, okay, for implementing the user input whatever it is there, how we could process that. I want everyone to respond. If any questions, if you have, you can ask.
So here the output is displayed with respect to report.xhtml, right?
I did not get you. Can you come
That means
again?
the product ID, the product name, the price which you have given from index.html, it is redirected to report.xhtml, and in report.xhtml we got the values. So we have displayed those values in report.xhtml, right?
Correct, but okay, you should say that okay, order.product
Now-
ID, order.product name, and order.price will be stored
Yes.
into the component, that is order bean component. First, it will be
Yes.
storing into that.
Then what is the use of writing value attribute in index.xhtml? Like anyways we have defined input text ID equals to PID, then we have given value equals to hash order.product ID. So the same thing we have given in report.xhtml. So there we are retrieving the value which we have set to the managed bin. Then what
Correct.
is the use of writing this value attribute in index.html? Because anyway it is redirected to report.xhtml only.
But how could it will know that okay, that this is the bean object where I have to store? Maybe I have an order object, maybe I have payment object. There are two beans are there. Now how could I will tell that okay, this particular input text which is product ID which is going to store in order bean object which is okay, variable product ID. I need to store that, right? So this is what I am storing. Only thing that okay, I am not writing any code to store explicitly. Okay, because it is an input text. Okay, so hence it is considering that okay, the user is giving the value and using a life cycle. If you remember, there is a life cycle phase where we have discussed, that is update model phase. In update model phase, what it will do, these values, that is the product ID, product name, and price value will be stored into the order component or order bean, and which in turn we are using that in the report.xhtml. Report.xhtml is nothing to do with the index.html. It is a separate, you can say, because it is going to access from the order value which is there in the session scope.
Okay. Okay.
That's
So I'll tell you what I've understood from this. Please, just evaluate it. So here in index.html, we have taken input text and we have given value equals to hash order.product ID. So here we are setting the value in the managed bin, right?
Yes,
Setting
we are
the
setting
value
the
which we have
binding.
entered and we are setting here.
Binding.
There we are
We are
getting, okay, binding.
This
We are
is the
binding. In
value.
report.xhtml, yeah, in report.html we are getting it, which we have set,
Yes.
isn't it? Okay.
Setting, when you are
So I got
saying
this
that
word
it's
actually.
okay, I feel that okay, setter method type. Okay, setter method will not work
Yes,
in the
setter method type.
where setter method you are saying. Is it okay? You are talking in the report or
See,
is it
in order.java we have setters and getters.
yes.
We have
Correct.
setters and getters. In index.html we have written an attribute called as value, where you are writing order.product ID. So what are you calling here?
Setter.
Are you calling the setter method or
Setter, yes.
are you calling the variable?
Because here we
Setter.
are trying to initialize the value. We are trying to initialize
yes,
the
yes.
Instance.
So
And in the case of your
okay, in
report.html,
you are getting it.
Getting the
You are
value.
getting it.
Okay, getter, there we
Okay,
will call
fine.
getter. But
Fine.
explicitly we are not doing that. Only thing that okay,
Yes, we are
explicitly
doing
we are
inside
not
the
doing.
program only.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is then
Thank you,
you
thank
can say inherited things from the .NET type of thing. Previously, okay, because
Okay,
in our
thank you,
Java
sir.
program, mostly we know that, okay, we use getter and setter methods manually, but now it is not required that.
True, true.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Any other questions from anyone? I think Harsha has asked some questions. Yes, yes. Yes, Harsha, you are correct. That is what. Any other questions? Fine then. So this is the one demo which is there. So all together today you have to do a some around 5 to 7, 6 to 7 demos in the page you need to do. Report.jsf page. 1 minute. Report.jsf. We can do that. Okay, that is what okay we need to automatically does. Okay, only thing is that managed bean. Okay, there are certain managed class we have to use, then by which we can also specify the bean syntax. Okay, in the your faces icon config.xml also. This is using your annotation. I need to check that. Okay, that whether you want to remove that default value. Yes, we should give the ID property. Any other questions? Fine. So this is about your, what is that, the third chapter which we are talking about. Okay, in the third chapter we have been discussed about something called as managing the user input, how we can implement that we have been discussed now. Fine. So few things about the validators which we are going to discuss, and then we can just check. Okay, so this is few things about the validators also we are going to discuss now. So till now we have discussed about the user input. Let me check. So just I want to tell that, okay, few things about the core tag library. As I told you that, okay, in the core tag library we have, okay, till now we have been discussed about the pasted tags we have seen. Okay, we have seen about the select tags also we have been discussed. We have discussed about view tags also we have seen. Okay, view tags, that is view and subview tags also we have seen. So what are the other tags which are okay available in case of your validators, okay, converters, that we'll see now. Let us see that. So in core tags, okay, core tag library, we have something called as validator tags also. Okay, so validator tags in a JSF application data entered by the user into the UI need to be validated before it can be processed. So that is what your validator tags which is concerned. So the following table which lists the standard tags provided by the JSF core tag library. So what are the different type of your core tags which are provided by the validator one? Okay, let us see. These are the built-in ones. These are the built-in tags which are provided by this. So what are that? Why is that? Okay, you can see that validate length. Okay, this is one particular tag which will be there. F:validate length. This will be okay, which will be used for verify the number of characters entered by the user in the UI component. If you want to specify any text field within that, okay, if you specify this validate length, and you can give that what is the number of characters which need to be entered. That you can be specified using the f:validate length is the tag which we can be specified, and we can validate that. Then we have f:validate long range. Long range, which is that is nothing but which is used for implementing, verifying the number of long range values entered by the user. So a whole value, maybe I just want to talk about that. Any say user should give the value from 100 to until the 700, or some 1 lakh to 7 lakh only. He has to give that particular value in that particular text box or anywhere. So within the input text. So then I can specify that as validate long range is the tag which we can be used for that. So these are all the built-in tags which are being provided in the case of your validated tags also. Then we have we can see that validate double range. This particular one which will be used for the double range values, that is the decimal values wise. If you want to check, in that case we can use the validate double range also. Long range, which will give the whole values, but whereas if you want to specify a decimal value wise, if you want to check, in that case we will go for the validate double range is the tag which you can be used for implementing or for checking the double range values also. Decimal values we can check. Then the last one, it is nothing but your f:validator, which is the tag which has been specified. This particular tag which are being specified for implementing our own validations. Till now, as I told you that validations which you are implementing, either by length way, by long range or double range, you are going to specify the values, and accordingly that binded text field, whichever we have been specified, that value you cannot give accordingly. But if you want to give your own validation, you want to create some validation which has not been specified by that particular validator tags. In that case, the validator tag which you can be specified, and in that validator tag you can specify the validations and that validation class object which we can be passed over there. It is something like your, as you know that exception handling, which we have seen. Exception handling we have been provided. There are some certain built-in exceptions which have been provided by which we can do the exceptions. If it is raised, then we have taken. But there are certain exceptions when it is not been provided. Maybe it is related to the exception to the system. Then we need to create our own exception by saying user-defined exception, by extending to the exception class of Java.lang package. Similarly, you can create also the validator, your own validator you can create by implementing the validator interface also. So that time you can say that is called a custom validator, and that custom validator can be implemented with this validator tag also. So this is the few things about the tags which are being provided in the case of your validators and all. Similarly, for the converter tags are also there. Converter tags, again, what will be that? So as I told you that you want to go for the date time convert or a number, you want to specify that you can use. If you want to go for f:convert date and time, you can specify where you can use the date time convert instance. So a string has been specified, and this is the way the date and time it has to be displayed. Then we can give the convert date and time. Similarly, convert number also you can give that number converter instance, which we can be specified to the your UI component that we can give. Otherwise, if you want to give your own converter, a custom converter, if you want to be specified, in that case, you can give f:converter is the tag which we can be specified, by which we can give user-defined converter also which can be specified to that. So these are all the different type of your tags which can be specified in your core tag library. So these are all the some of the core tag library tags which are there, that is validator tags, converter tags, and in the validator tags there are certain validation tags which are being provided by Jsfhs, and if you want to create your own validation tags also, you can create also, and we can implement that by using the f:"validator is the tag which has been provided for that. Similarly, for the converter also, date time converter and the convert number converter which are being provided. But apart from that, if you want to create your own converters, That is also we can be specified by using the user-defined converter also. So these are the few things about the converter tags which we can be specified here. Apart from that, okay, we have certain event listener tags are also being provided. The event listener tags, when a button is clicked or the value changed, the UI component, the event will be fired. So to implement that particular event, we need to use some standard tags are also being provided for us. So what are that standard tags? Okay, that is F:\action listener. F:\action listener is a tag which we can be specified. Like that, okay, F:\set property action listener is a tag which we can be specified. F:\value change listener is a tag which we can be specified here. So these are all the different type of your tags which can be specified to the event listener tags also. Action listener tags, set property action listener tags, and value change listener tags are also there. So these are all. So these tags used to add an action listener instance to parent component. And property action listener, this tag is used to register a special action listener also. And value change listener, this is if any kind of your value changes happen, then that particular your event it has to be fired. Then you can specify that to value change listener also. So these are all okay to the command button or to the combo box and all. If you want to specify that event, then you can give that tags also. So these are all the different tags only to define, but actually we are going to use this particular tags in, we are going to see the demos also how we can be implemented in event handling. Okay, so validator also there. Okay, in the validator tags we have the custom validator how to create. There is a process is there that we are going to discuss also. Okay then. So let us see that, okay, what are the things which we have discussed so far. Okay, then we'll move further. Okay, we have discussed about Jsf objectives or the goal, Jsf advantages. Okay, this is about the chapter 1, okay, which we are talking about. This is overview of Jsf. Then we have discussed about struts versus Jsf. We have been discussed about that. We have discussed about Jsf life cycle, 6 phases of life cycle. Okay, we have been discussed that. So this is all about the chapter 1. Okay, where we have discussed about these few points: Jsf advantages, struts versus Jsf life cycle, and 6 phases of the life cycle, how it is there. Okay, the different life cycle like restore page, and we have apply request values, then we have process validation, update model values, invoke application, and render phase are the 6 different phases which are there that we have been discussed also. So these are all about your overview of the Jsf that we have seen. Then we have started with your chapter 2. Okay, in the chapter 2, what we have seen, this is nothing but your elements. Okay, the tags which you have been discussed about here. So here, developing the UI component that we have been discussing here. So here, what we have seen, okay, different HTML tag. Okay, we have been discussed HTML tag of HTML tag library. We have seen, okay, so different type of your tags which we have been discussed, and different core tags of core tag library. Okay, so that is we have been discussed about here. So in HTML tags, it is like input tags, output tags. We have been discussed like select tags, command buttons. Okay, these are all like maybe links. We have images. Okay, all these are the different type of your HTML tags which are available. Then we have been discussed about the different core tags also, like validator tags. We have converter tags. We have event listener tags. We have facet tags. We have select okay, some of the select tags also were the part of your core tag library. Okay, so this is what we have been discussed in the core tag libraries also. And okay, these are the two different things which are there. Then in the chapter 3, okay, it says managing user input, which is there. Okay, in that, okay, we have discussed about the managed bean, okay, and their scope, what we have been discussed, and we are discussing about the configuring the managed bean. So this is what we have been discussed as a part of your chapter 3, what we have seen. And the few things, okay, so this is the summary of the day 1. Okay, so in the day 1, what we have been discussed. So some of the demos which we have been implemented, so please do that particular demo also. Let me figure it out. 1 minute. So sample Jsfs page creation, we have been discussed. Okay, then implementing HTML tags. Okay, you're implementing select tags. Okay, this is what we have done, implementing data table tags. Yes, I'm doing that. I'll do that. Okay, so implementing the data table tags, we have okay, the select tags, HTML tags, Jsfs, okay, page creation we have seen also, and we have what we have done. Then here, okay, we have seen the demo, that is implementing the managed bean. We have been doing that. Implementing okay, validation using tag. Okay, using tag, we have not seen the validator tags, but okay, we're using the tags, okay, that is required. Okay, implementation by using the required tag, how we can do the validation, we have been discussed. We have also discussed about implementing view and sub-view tags. So this is also what we have been discussed, right? So this is the different type of your demos what we have been discussed so far for today's class, and then we'll go for the actually okay, we have a small topic that is nothing but your facelets and all, how it is there, that we are going to discuss. Then okay, tomorrow we are going to start with the chapter 4, that is managing the page flow in the web application, how we can do, and how to handle the events and all, and layout, how to set. That's a few things what we are going to discuss in tomorrow's class. So please study the chapter 1 to 3, okay, and if you have anything, okay, and do these particular demos, the 7 demos what we have been discussed about here, okay, please go through that particular demos also, and please read that, okay, and do that particular, if you have a lab at home access, okay, please do that particular lab at home access also, that would be great. And tomorrow, okay, we'll discuss about managing page flow in web application, handling the events, and standardizing the layout of the web pages. That is the 3 chapters which I am thinking of finishing by tomorrow. So we'll see that, okay, what best we can do. And tomorrow we will be discussing about the like validation tags, converter tags, how to implement. All these are the things which will be there. It's a demo, we are going to discuss that. So let me do that. Okay, let me go for Everybody has staff.com login, right? Those who are there. Right, I can't do. Slide, please you take from your respective centers, okay, because I cannot give you. So I'll create a group, okay, and in that group we'll share the demos, and I want, okay, everyone to share their views, okay, and if you get any kind of your websites or anything where we get more, okay, the data, so that you please share with us also, so that, okay, everyone will be get benefit out of that. Go to the group, so where I can share easily, that is why I'm doing. Creating a new group. Please see the group name and everything. Jsfhs TTT. This is the group. I've created an open group. So can you please, all of you can add to this particular group, JFSS_TT2, where you can see that, okay, I've added my name also, so that, okay, you can easily see. I'm sharing this content in this particular group only. So you need to go to the discussion board. Go to the discussion board. There you will find that, okay, day one wise I will share that particular content with you. All right, then. Okay, go to the discussion board where you can download actually. Yes, Jogendra? So all the notepads which I have provided, okay, so you can please go through that, and you can practice this in your lab once. But okay, please go through the books, because there are a lot of tags which are there. Okay, that is the HTML tags which we have to, okay, do the practice. Okay, so do the R&D kind of things. Okay, then it will be better. Arun has added already, I think. And MR, okay, you please say, download this particular demos from this group as I have told you. Okay, and then okay, so this is your group Jsfhs_TTT. So please take this. No, we cannot share the books and all. Okay, you have to ask the books from your respective center. Manage bin. It is managed bin actually. Fine. So please take that particular notes from there, okay, and try to go through this. And I will definitely see that some notes I will also upload there so that you can go through also. Okay, my notes which I generally prepare. So I will share that particular notes with the same one. Okay, within that only I will share. So please go through that because I cannot give the books. Books has to be given in the center. You can have my email ID. Just Srinivas, you can say Control K from the you can get, right? From Rotary Garden, can you please take the theorem from the center? This is you have to take the theorem from the center only. From Chandigarh, please take the help of some other faculty to join to the group. All of you, what we can do is please give me your name, comma, your email ID, comma, mobile number. You have to just type. Everyone, can you please type? Can you please type your name, comma, email ID, comma, mobile number? That's it. Everyone. I want everyone to type in the hand raise. You need to type your email ID and mobile number. Everyone has typed. All right then. So please do the practice, and we'll meet tomorrow at 11:30. Okay, so please see the time. So tomorrow it will be 11 to 3:30. Sorry, 11 to 3:30 it will be. Fine. The class timing will be from 11 to 3:30. 9 to 11 is your MR. Again 3:30 to 5:30 is your MR tomorrow. Okay. So please check that timing. Okay. Anyway, I'll put the timings in this particular group. Everyone, if you can add into this group, that will be great. Till 10th. Today we need to do the MR. Please do the practice. Thank you then. Have a nice day. We'll meet tomorrow at 11 o'clock sharp. Have a nice day and goodbye from my end.